Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of NASCAR Heat 4 Career Mode. I hope you're all having a great day. We start this episode off with our silly season news here. Daniel Suarez to the 41. Next season he will make his Cup Series return, replacing myself, obviously, in the 41 car for Stewart Haas Racing. So obviously we still have to find a team to go to next season, but we're definitely getting closer to a decision now as we come through to the Truck Series, where we had HAILIE Deegan back in the truck. Obviously she's splitting up the schedule with a former Cup Series veteran of Greg Biffle. She started inside the top 10 and did not hesitate to move forwards at all throughout this race here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. She continued really early on to move forwards to the point where she would make a pass on Ross Chastain in the 45 truck for the lead past the midway point of this race, and she would not really look back after that. Now as Chastain, he tried to battle back on the front straightaway but didn't quite have enough. She came through down into turns 3 and turns 4 towards the final lap. Chastain still in the picture, but just not quite there as we came out of turns 4. We haven't got a Truck Series win yet, but HAILIE Deegan would come through to deliver our first Truck Series win for a team and for herself in her Truck Series career. So a great job there by HAILIE Deegan, putting us in the Truck Series playoffs. We now come to the Xfinity Series race where we had subscriber Nathan Wojtowski in the car here in the 02. Unfortunately, it was a pretty rough qualifying effort. Michigan doesn't usually go great as well for us here in the Xfinity Series. Kind of like Pocono, we started in the back in the Xfinity Series. Didn't go well, but Nathan basically spent a good chunk of time battling the 23 of John Hunter Nemechek throughout this race. It came through at a turn 4 just behind John Hunter as he went down the front straightaway, but he came to the final lap and the same situation. He was right behind John Hunter Nemechek, not quite close enough though as he came down this front straightaway to come through to cross the line behind the 23. He started in the 30s and rallied through to get a very solid 12th place finish, so very happy with that. Now we go straight to the Cup Series.
Today it's Michigan International Speedway for the Firekeepers Casino 400. This D-shaped 2-mile oval is fast. In fact, this track is the fastest track on the schedule, with speeds reaching more than 200 miles per hour. So buckle up. NASCAR racing is up next.
All right, thank you, Rick Allen. We're ready to go green here for the Firekeepers Casino 400 at Michigan International Speedway. We did not show a qualifying there because we're starting at the back of the field with a quote-unquote, failed technical inspection, as I like to throw that in there from time to time here in the career mode now as we get ready to go green here in Michigan International Speedway. Pretty much the closest track to me in real life, obviously, as you guys know. I am from Canada, and Michigan and Watkins Glen, they're both about 4 hours or so apart for me now as we are underway here at Michigan International Speedway. Denny Hamlin on that front row leading the way. He has been showing a lot more speed lately. He has been the points leader all season pretty much now as he finally seems to be finding that extra speed to carry him to victory lane and win these races now as we come through out of turns 2. Trying to look to the outside of the 13 of Ty Dillon. Sure enough, we get alongside him as we go down this back straightaway for a brief moment now as we're 3 wide with him and the 95 of Matt DiBenedetto, who will be piloted by Christopher Bell, a rookie in real life this season. Now as we go down into turn 3 just behind the 00 of Landon Castle. We're kind of in that mid-season portion right now of that schedule that I really do not like, as we got Pocono, we got Michigan, we got New Hampshire, Indianapolis, all those tracks coming up that I really do not enjoy, but I'm certainly excited to get some road racing going with Sonoma very soon, Watkins Glen down the line. So obviously we're locked into the playoffs. We can just kind of try and see if we can make some strategy calls like we did a handful of races ago to get a stage victory like we did in Dover, but we came through on lap 4 of 14 here in stage 1, now running down Clint Boyer up inside the top 25 as Boyer has certainly seemed to lose a little bit of speed recently here in the career mode, unfortunately, as we also got past the 48 of Jimmy Johnson, who's locked in the playoffs after winning at Auto Club Speedway. We would look to the inside of the 8 of Daniel Hemrick and get past him as well. So moving forwards pretty well with the draft is really important, especially when we're using this quote-unquote new rules package where it turned the draft effects to high, and we did not have the draft at this point from that group up ahead, so I was not able to do anything. I couldn't even defend against the 7-time champion and Jimmy Johnson. He just drove up to me, drove right on by me here with 7 laps to go. In this first stage, as Martin Truex Jr. led the field in the number 19 car for Joe Gibbs Racing at this point as we went down into turns 1, and then we came through turns 3 on lap 10, and I had a little bit of oversteer on the exit of the corner that allowed the 37 of Chris Buescher to pounce on the opportunity, and all of a sudden we were having a really rough first stage. I was thinking we were going to be well up inside the top 15. We got loose again at a turns 2 on lap 11, and we hit the wall and knocked down the right side, and that would bring some damage to the right side of the car, as well as we would lose the draft. So there was basically no way we would be able to gain time on the cars ahead, and then the guys behind us would be able to close in on us, as I was dealing with a really loose car at this point. But we came through a few laps later. A caution came out and completely saved me, because I was falling back really quickly, and this would obviously end the stage. So not a good stage one for us. It started well and did not end well. Kevin Harvick, our teammate, with the stage victory. I decided to put the wedge up, obviously, as I was dealing with a lot of oversteer there, and now we would actually gain 2 positions on the pit lane, getting ready for the second stage. Now as we're ready to go green, we're once again underway behind the 37 of Chris Buescher, the 48 of Jimmy Johnson on his outside in that 20th position. Kevin Harvick leads the way after winning the first stage now here in Michigan International Speedway. Harvick certainly I think probably the best car right now at our SHR team this season, but I definitely would put us pretty close behind Kevin Harvick. We're definitely not far behind our teammate of Harvick, and then obviously Boyer, Almirola. They've been there with us for the most part of the season, but they still seem to have some moments where they're just not quite there. Now as we go down this back straightaway up the inside of the 37 of Chris Buescher, Larson and Bowman side by side. Larson has had speed this season, but he's had terrible luck, and that's always seems to be the story for Kyle Larson. Obviously we had a rivalry with him last season. That did not end well for Larson for the most part, as well as he could have made the playoffs last season in our career mode if he didn't spend a lot of time trying to wreck me in some of the races. Now as we go down into turns 1, we're up inside the top 15. As you can see just how much short run speed we have in this car. We were gaining positions really quickly. We got to the inside of the 9 of Chase Elliott. A little bit of contact on his door as we came out of turns 2. As you saw me get a little bit loose, but we wouldn't pass the 9. We passed Newman. We had gotten to the inside of Kurt Busch. All of a sudden we were battling for a top 10 position here down this front straightaway on lap 3, approaching lap 4 of 15 in the second stage with Martin Truex Jr. back out front. But unfortunately, I couldn't pass Kurt Busch. He would be able to hold me off. And then Bowman, he had gotten to my inside on lap 6 of 15 as I started to feel the car slipping away a little bit again. Now let's go down into turn 3 with 10 laps to go here in this second stage. Now is Bowman. He takes a position away as we drop down another position. Then Elliott goes by. Newman gets through on my outside as he's just barely made it work now as he would fall down to P14. So falling down the order pretty quickly now as we came through on lap 9. Now Paul Menard in the 21 had gotten to my inside as we went down this front straightaway, as I was just dropping like a rock, just like I did towards the end of stage 1, which kind of caught me off guard. I thought I tightened up the car enough to where it wouldn't be an issue, but as you can clearly see, it was not going well for myself at all. Now I came through at a turn 2 running in the 15th position, and we once again started losing that draft. And once I lost that draft, once again I couldn't do anything. I was just losing ground. The cars behind me were closing in on me. Now as we actually were close on field at this point too, I should mention. So now all of a sudden it was like, okay, are we going to make it on field? What's going to happen? We came to lap 13, slipping and sliding into turn 2 a little bit, but I'm actually running about half throttle, or 3/4 of a throttle at this point, I should say, as I let the 4 cars here go past me, and I'm just trying to save fuel and make sure that we can make it to the end of this stage. And sure enough, we came through, approaching the final lap of the stage. You see a bunch of cars came into the pit lane. All of a sudden, we're up to P13. I was hoping everybody was going to pit. Unfortunately, it didn't quite happen. The tire icon comes on. The fuel icon is on. We have 0 laps estimated left of fuel, but up ahead there was trouble. There was a 43 of Bubba Wallace for Richard Petty Motorsports, who had gone spinning, maybe a tire failure, and that would bring out the caution on the final lap here in stage 2. So we do not even get stage points after that, unfortunately, as we would obviously have to come into the pit lane to pit for 2 cans of fuel and 4 tires. And once again, I decided to make another wedge adjustment to hopefully tighten up the car a bit. We came into the pit lane P13 at the end of stage 2. We exit the pit lane P13, getting ready to go green on this inside lane for the third and final stage as the green flag is out. And once again, we are underway. This time, Kurt Busch leads the field to green with just 19 laps to go here at Michigan International Speedway. There you see Austin Dillon up here in the 12th position. He is already probably in a must-win situation if he wants to make it into the playoffs, and I don't think he's going to have any chance of winning here anytime soon in the career mode. Now, come through out of turn 2, heading down this back straightaway side by side with the RCR driver. We certainly have had a history with 2 of the RCR drivers, including Tyler Reddick and Daniel Hemrick, especially last season at the Daytona summer race. Now the second Daytona race as we go down in turn 3 up the inside now, the 42 of Kyle Larson, once again showing off the very early short run speed that we have with this 41 car here today in Michigan. Now as we get to the left rear, hitting the 88 just a tiny bit there on the bumper. Thankfully no damage picked up. Now as we're 3 wide with Bowman and Ryan Newman here in the 6 cars. We go down into turns 1. Larson and Elliott just behind us now as we clear the 88, and we're going to slide up a tiny bit, and now we're side by side with the 21 of Paul Menard as we exit turns 2. There you see Newman built up a run, but he's going to go 3 wide with Bowman and Larson as we go down this back straightaway. We're going to continue battling side by side with Paul Menard for Wood Brothers Racing in the 21 cars. We go down into turn 3. We clear him. All of a sudden, I was up to P6 as we came to lap 34, though. Kyle Larson would be able to get ahead and fight to my inside, and now we were all of a sudden once again starting to lose some ground there, as it just seemed like we had really good short run speed, but once that short run speed started to wear off, we were just falling and falling and falling. So Larson gets past, and now we drop to P7. Bowman was putting on a little bit of pressure, but he was also battling with Keselowski. The 6 of Newman there as we came out to lap 38 out of turns 2, slipping and sliding a little bit. Keselowski pounced straight on the opportunity. He would be able to make the pass on me, and then Bowman once again, though, to my inside as we go down into turns 3. Bowman takes the position as we come through the center of the corner, sliding again. Newman just barely gets by on that outside there. Certainly, if I overcorrected, we probably would have taken Newman out with him, which we kind of owe him one now as we come through on lap 41. At this point, 10 laps to go, battling with Tyler Reddick in P13. Just once again, though, on that long run, struggling so hard to maintain this pace. We came through on lap 41 again, still through turn 3, though, and I almost spun the car out, getting out of the apron a little bit, and that completely took my chances of staying in the draft away, as Reddick would be able to carry the speed down the front straightaway. So now we were falling to within the kind of vicinity of the group behind, and obviously hitting the wall there out of turns 4 does not help at all, as Austin Dillon, it would go by on the outside, and once again, I was just struggling so hard on the longer run. Now as Jones, he would get to my inside. Elliott, his sides, he's going to split to the outside as we come through turns 1 and turns 2. There he goes, right to the outside now. As we exit the corner, a little bit of contact again with the 9 of Chase Elliott, not the first time today. And then we came through now on lap 45. At this point, though, we had to think about green flag pit stops. Many drivers were coming in. I decided we're going to come in for just 2 tires. We could not get away with 0 tires because the right rear would not last. So we get ready to make a 2-tire pit stop under green now as we come through towards the pit lane. And we go way too deep into the back nearly of the 20. And we go spinning down towards the inside while we hang on to it. But 100% just a driver error on my part. Now the caution comes out here with 6 laps to go in Michigan. I braked way too late there, and I hit the brakes way too hard, hoping that I wouldn't just drive straight into the back of the 20, and unfortunately, I spun myself out. So that was very embarrassing, to say the least. One of the more embarrassing moments, I think, of the season, and all of a sudden, we're down to P29 after losing 14 positions, as now as everything at this point had turned into a complete disaster. We would get back going here for a 2-lap dash. Kevin Harvick, keep in mind, is still leading the way, so he has a chance to get win number 2 on the season. But unfortunately for us, it just nothing really went our way today. If there was a bunch of crashes, to say the least, we probably would have actually had a pretty good chance at like a top 5 now. As we go down into turns 1, the car immediately was not driving correctly at all. I put 2 tires on the pit stop, and it felt terrible as I went down into turns 1, as you saw how bad that corner was. And unfortunately, we took the 24 of William Byron with us right there as we go down into turns 3, approaching the final lap here at Michigan International Speedway. Kevin Harvick leads the way as we exit turns 4. Kyle Busch having a rough final result, likely, as well as he's just in front of us with our teammate of Clint Boyers. Kevin Harvick takes the white flag here in Michigan. Jones just in front of us 3 wide in the middle as we split 3 wide up the middle, as well as we went on into turns 1 into the back of the 20, getting really aggressive here on this final lap, and then into turns 1. The car just once again not driving like I needed to in the corner. Gets a little bit messed up as we're slipping on the exit of the corner now, hitting our teammate of Boyer just briefly, but thankfully no harm done to him. Now as we go down this back straightaway for the final time here at Michigan International Speedway. Kevin Harvick comfortably out front over second place. It looks like he will come through with the victory now as we come through. Jones slides down in front of us, and we're out of control trying to avoid him slipping and sliding. Big contact made with the 24 into the wall we go now, and we hit the 34. We're hitting everything as we come through to the line. A terrible day in Michigan results in a 38th place finish here. Very, very unfortunate now, as we had so much short run speed, no long run speed. We had an embarrassing moment trying to get on the pit lane, and then overtime, or not, there was not overtime, it was still in regulation, but the final 2 laps were a complete disaster here in Michigan, unfortunately. So very disappointed with that, to say the least. Now, as you see, the point standings have dropped down to 4th, and after the race, I just said, I am an idiot. That's it. That's all there was to say, as that was certainly an embarrassing moment when that happened with the pit road thing, and then obviously the last 2 laps just did not go well. But I'm happy to kind of have Michigan out of the way, at least for a handful of races, because we go back to Michigan very soon, once again for the second time this season. But at least we had some drivers that were happy with us: Jimmy Johnson, Kyle Busch, Matt DiBenedetto, so that made everything a little bit better, I guess. Now, as always, if you guys did enjoy this episode, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. That would all be very appreciated. In the next one, we go to Sonoma, so our first road course race of the season, which I am very excited for. Last season we had a chance, and then it did not go well towards the end, but hopefully we can get rid of that this time around and have a chance at winning here in Sonoma. So thank you all for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. There you see the playoff grid. Clune Boyer, the first guy out, only out by 1 point, so we'll see how it shapes up at Sonoma. Thank you all for watching, and have yourselves a great day, everybody.